This is one of the cheapest ways to get a triple locked vehicle here in the US. It's a base model Power Wagon. I'll include a link to the Ram and Sandy's website in the description down below. Also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a 6.4 liter Hemi V8 that goes through an 8-speed. It puts out 405 horsepower and then 429 pound-feet of torque. I'm trying to hit 500,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I'd really appreciate it if you'd help out with that. No cab lights on this version of the Power Wagon, and other than the little badge on the side, nothing else on the hood. This does still get nice LED lights, and then you've got a custom grille. We also have fog lights, parking sensors, recovery points, and a winch down below. So it kind of mixes the Power Wagon front end with the Tradesman front end a bit. And that might be why they call this the Tradesman Power Wagon. 285 by 70 by 17 for the tire and wheel setup. This is lifted from the factory. It also has Bilstein shocks, solid front axle. We've got these chunky fender flares. And this version of the Power Wagon is actually not two-tone. It is still coil sprung in the rear with the solid rear axle. And this is built off of a crew cab with the 6'4" box. And that is the only configuration you can currently get with the Power Wagon, and it does look a little bit dorky with the tires. LED lights in the bed. We also have an outlet, and we've got spray-in liner. Tailgate itself is pretty darn light. We also have the Ram logo there in the back. This does have the baseline taillights, and then we do have an upgraded bumper with parking sensors. And there is a full-size spare underneath. There's also a little bumper step there in the back, and this is the 3/4 angle. I will say I actually really like the looks of this so far. Let's now pop inside. Now, definitely more basic trim here on the door panel. And that theme continues with the cloth seats here on the Power Wagon. There is under seat storage, but no buckets. The passengers do get vents in the back though. No keyless entry up front again, it's a baseline. So just like the back, the front door panel is pretty basic. You got the trailer mirrors on this particular one, and then the front windows are automatic, and then not a lot of adjustment with the mirrors. Well, I shouldn't say that. There is adjustment, it's just all manual pretty much. $1469 for the payload capacity. Cloth front seats, and they are manual with the adjustment for driver and passenger. Let's hear that V8 rumble. Now the steering wheel has kind of like the synthetic plasticky trim all around. And you notice that's kind of a theme in the interior. Everything is pretty much plastic. I think that works out pretty well because this is a basic off-road truck, so that's gonna be durable and easy to clean. This comes with adaptive cruise control. We've got our gear limiter function, and then we have our controls for the center screen. And when I say center screen, it's pretty itty bitty there, as you can see, mostly analog with the gauges. And this has the new electronic column shifter. Just a backup camera with this truck, it's federally mandated. You still get a big infotainment system. A lot of automakers are doing this to actually lower cost if they just have a standardized system. But it does have a shortcut bar there at the bottom, which is quick to respond for the most part. Surprisingly, this has features like dual zone climate. You can see the controls there on the other side, radio controls. And then down below, you've got your parking sensors, tow haul mode, stability control, and trailer brake controls. And a Power Wagon wouldn't be complete without a part-time four-wheel drive system. It has high and low range. It's got off-road cruise control, sway bar disconnect, and axle locks front and rear. I will say I'm a little bit sad that they got rid of the on-the-floor shifter here for the Power Wagon. We have a bunch of USB ports, and then we have an outlet there on the other side. And this one has a bench seat, so you've got storage on the top. You've got cup holders here. You can pick it up to be a seat, and there's no storage underneath, sadly, but good enough. And this does at least have a power sliding window. The button for it is right there. So 2025 Tradesman Power Wagon. Well, the Power Wagon package, as you can see, is $7,995. This also has stuff like the bed utility, Tradesman 1, and all of that. Anyways, $65,925 is the total MSRP. Let's see how this performs. Power Wagon base model. I just drove a fully loaded one, and I'll tell you, the only thing you get in the fully loaded one, well, it's not the only, but like you basically, it has a sunroof, heated cooled leather seats, 360 camera, keyless entry. I don't think the glass was actually any thicker. I think it was pretty similar. So you're basically paying for a lot of luxury amenities, but you don't get any added capability. The same underpinnings of the truck. So you're paying for an upgraded interior. That's what you're paying for. And with that in mind, I'm going to tell you guys right off the bat, I like this more than the fully loaded one. I love the looks of this, the more kind of like baseline looks. I think it fits the character a little bit more of a rugged off-road truck. And for something that is meant for off-roading, this has an interior that makes way more sense. This is gonna be way easier to clean. And I think that, you know, cloth isn't perfect, right? That's one part that's probably a little bit harder to clean, but, you know, pretty durable. Cloth is pretty durable. So I feel like this is a vehicle that you can really beat up and it'll do just fine. Yeah, it really doesn't drive any different compared to the fully loaded one. That's the reason why I wanted to drive both of them back to back, is to see if loaded, and I had some requests on this too. But yeah, to see if there was a big difference, and it's not. Yeah, low end torque with this V8 is great. It's a really smooth engine. V8s in general just are, but yeah, tons of low end torque. You know, I will say I do miss the cooled seats a little bit, but this also doesn't have window tint. If this had window tint, I wouldn't even care. Oh, the sound of the V8 is pretty cool too. Ooh, yeah, it's nice. It is nice. It's pretty smooth overall. It's not the fastest thing on the planet, but it can get out of its own way. And it's at least, again, it's smooth with the power delivery. Yeah, and suspension comfort's really good too, actually. Going over little bumps and everything, it does just fine. It does just fine. So, in summary, I think the baseline's the way to go. I do wish they still had the traditional shifter. And I think a lot of people are going to agree with me on that, because it's not just like the reliability aspect of having a more simplistic system for the four-wheel drive. It's also just the tactile feel, right? That's one of the things that like I love about a Wrangler, for example, is you still have the shifter on the floor for the four-wheel drive, so you feel like it's this nice tactile element. Don't have that anymore in the Power Wagon. Now I understand the Power Wagon's a much lower volume vehicle, so yeah, I understand why they got rid of it to streamline production, but yeah, it is definitely a loss. But I mean, for you guys that are watching this, you can just go get a used one, right? Because the Power Wagon hasn't changed over the years. Same engine, same transmission for quite a few years, and like all the mechanical stuff is the same. So it's like you can get a one that's a few years old, has the shifter on the floor, and it'll do the same things this does. It just will have some miles on it and a little bit of wear and tear. But let me know your thoughts.